Hello YouTube, I'm back with another video. It's been a while since I did a video in which I am playing my own art in the background while talking about art or talking about tips about art. And in this case, however, I'm going to be more or less talking about things that I'm thinking about while I draw the face, or things that I try to get better at as I practice these fundamentals. One thing that I think is very evident when seeing my process is that I mainly, if not solely, use the Loomis method when drawing the head. It's the method that honestly works for the best, works for me the best way, honestly. I've seen a couple of methods when constructing a head, but this way makes the most sense to me, at least. If you look at other artists, you can see a whole bunch of them more or less use a variation of this method, and you can see why. It's that versatile. You know, the typical ball, you cut in half, and usually with thirds, with the brow to the nose to the chin, basically those simple proportions. I also try to keep in mind that I shouldn't use this method as a crutch. I should use this as a very loose template for the basic proportions, but I should branch away from them if I want to do some, say, like variations in character design. The thing is with the Loomis method and the thirds is that it's just typical ideal proportions of like a more or less perfect face. But again, if I don't want to like be so constricted and want to do more various character designs, I'm going to have to modify the proportions here and there. Another thing that I think about when I'm drawing the face is that I need to try to be more aware of perspective. Typically everything is in perspective if you think about it, and when drawing something like a straight-on view of the face or a side profile, you could sort of forget that the head is still in perspective. What I do sometimes to better help me visualize the perspective on the head is to use boxes or cubes. I draw these boxes over heads of that other artists have drawn to get a better idea. You can use manga artists, or you can use whatever favorite artist you have and just try to draw cubes or boxes. Just, you know, get the idea of how perspective is in play. Or if you want to bring it even further, well, what I use is a 3D poser app. And since I'm able to position the head in any way I want, I can really push the perspective on the head. And I preface this to say that the more you do this, the more you'll be able to intrinsically draw the head in many angles without necessarily using reference. And not that it's wrong to use reference. Actually, in fact, many professionals in the field even now are using reference. With that being said though, it's nice to be able to draw something from muscle memory instantly, if you can. Another thing that I like to keep in mind when drawing are the planes on the face. This helps in particular with lighting and how it affects it. And with lighting, knowing where to put soft and hard edges will be quintessential in your rendering. But I'll probably save that for another video talking particularly about rendering. In this case, I'm doing simple plane changes like where the brow line goes into where the eyes are and then goes out to the cheekbones. Again, it's a case in which it's not so obvious to see the perspective and the plane shift on a front-facing view, but in a 3/4 shot, it is much more evident. Also, if you want, keep in mind when you're drawing a guy, you could draw sharper angles, and when drawing women, you could draw softer features. You're the artist, so all the choices are up to you and entirely up to your proclivities. At this point, I tried to draw in the noses for some of these headshots. Obviously, I didn't go through with it. I did plan to drawing a unique face for each head, but I decided to not go through with it. I just wanted to mainly use this as a means for studying. At this point, I'm actually going to do a portrait using the Loomis method just in a very light and sketchy way. The reason being is because when starting a piece or an illustration, you don't want to make any hard decisions at the beginning. So as you can see, again, the Loomis method, the proportions are there, but as I continue to do this, I'm going to be constantly making more harder lines and making more final decisions later on. Another thing that I want to keep in mind when doing photo studies is that I don't have to make it look exactly like the photo that I'm trying to study from. Again, there are photo studies, they're mainly means to study. People should not try to aim to be human photocopiers, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I do think that there's a lot of things you can learn from photo studies, hence why I do them a lot. And it basically helps me practice what I've learned in studying and try to, you know, have a more practical application for it. So yeah, right now, again, just sharpening everything. Again, I'm making my final decisions and much more conscious lines now. Also, I try to keep in mind with the values. Values are super important because you want to make the darkest darks and the lightest lights pretty like cohesive with each other. You don't want to make it all grayed out or faded out. And if you want, you can also take a break from the piece you're working at, and by that I mean like, you know, putting it to the side, wait like a couple hours or a full day to sort of come back with fresher eyes to see if there's any mistakes or anything that might look wrong. Because while drawing or doing illustrations, it's very easy to sort of get sucked up into your process and not really notice that things might be off, like the placement of the eyes, things might be very uneven. And yeah, that's just like a byproduct of you sort of getting, I guess, for lack of a better phrase, lost in the sauce when illustrating. So yeah, keep that in mind. I was planning on keeping the skin like the same color as the background, just like paper white, but that wouldn't help, or I really want to work on my values on this piece a lot. So I did sort of add in a mid-tone for the entire face, especially that because I also want to accentuate the light parts while, you know, making sure that there's a whole value range and not just black to white. And yeah, I really hope, I actually personally think I did relatively well on this piece. Again, it doesn't look exactly like the photo that I was studying from, but again, that is not the point in which I'm doing that. So yeah, again, fix up the values, really trying to get accurate, and yeah, that is the piece. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This video, again, is sort of a bit different than other art videos that I do. It has been a while since I did a video showing my art and talking about it, so I would like to reintroduce the channel to this type of content. If you liked what you saw, like the video, comment if you want. I do read the comments. Subscribe. I love when you guys subscribe. I love seeing the number go up. My Patreon, I'm actually uploading a lot more on Patreon lately. Lots of exclusive stuff that I am not showing anywhere else. And I'm also gonna have the patrons and my free members shown on the end of the video on this list that you see here. Again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate all your support. I just passed 14k subscribers. Once I reach 15k, I will do a video, sort of like a celebratory video. But until then, I will see you guys in the next one.